Hey, what's up everyone, this Gamers The Reason. Now in this video I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about the Xbox One. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is the Kinect. They have a newer version than a Kinect. It's going to be shipped out with all Xbox Ones, and it's also going to have a better camera. It's going to be a 1080p camera, so it'll have great video quality overall. It also does a better job as far as tracking. You don't have to be very far from it, you don't have to be in a very long or big room, and it has a more wide view of angle. It could track all your movements, very detailed, also just all your fingertips and gestures and everything that you're making. And you could use your voice to actually just open up apps or launch a game, just about anything else, including apps, whether it's internet browser or it's something that's including a music, watching TV shows, just about anything really. So it's very easy to be able to get around. You could still use your controller, of course, but another thing you're going to be able to use is your smartphone. So if you have a smartphone, you should be able to actually use it to navigate through everything. So this is going to be really, really great for in case you just want to be able to, not lift up a finger, but, you don't want to get the controller or anything like that. That we could, see everything on there, just be able to scroll through everything and click on what you want and just get everything done that way. So there's going to be a lot of options of as far as like what kind of ways you're going to be able to navigate through the system and be able to just use it and launch applications and close in and out of them. Now, one of the things that they've added on to Xbox Live is that now you could use Skype for video calls. But what makes this different than all other ways of using Skype is that you will now have group call, which usually you would have to pay for pro membership of Skype, but now it will be on Xbox Live. So you don't have to worry about paying for anything. You could do group chat and talk to all of your friends on Xbox Live, or possibly people that are actually off of Xbox Live. This way you could talk to everyone and not have to switch back and forth or get in and out of an Xbox Live chat. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be very happy to hear this, and that is that on the Xbox One, you'll be able to actually record gameplays by using a dedicated PVR that it's going to have, and you'll be able to edit it, share it, and save it onto the cloud, so you could be able to access it just about anywhere and share it onto other social sites. Now, they're going to be changing the way that you get achievements. They're not just going to be something that you did, but they're going to be doing them in a way that they help explain what kind of player you are overall, and just have a bit more in-depth and meaning to them instead of just, pointing out something that you have achieved. And another thing that a lot of people are going to be very happy to hear is that you will be able to transfer all your gamer score and achievements that you got on the Xbox 360. So you don't have to worry about everything that you worked for. You will still be able to transfer that onto the new Xbox Live, onto your new profile. For all of those of you that are very competitive or hardcore gamers, you're going to be very happy to know that you will be able to get much larger maps and be able to play with much more people instead of just being limited to 12 or 16 players. Now, they really try to put in the idea that this is going to be an ultimate entertainment system. So now, depending on what cable you have, you might be able to actually link it with your Xbox, so then you could be able to watch any of those TV shows on the fly on your Xbox One. And you'll be able to switch in and out of TV shows or switch from one channel to another very, very quickly, whether it's a TV show or by channel, just by simply telling the Xbox which show or channel to go to. And there will be a guide you will be able to actually go through, and it'll also give you the option to be able to go through your favorites or what is the top-notch or most famous shows, what's trending overall. And there's a lot of things you're going to be able to do. And also, if you're going to be watching sports, one great thing is that you will get notifications of scores or changes or anything like that. And if you want to pay attention to another game that's going on at the same time, you'll actually be able to have the system show you the scores showing up on the side of the screen while watching another match. So that way you don't have to keep on switching back and forth or have to be paying attention to your phone and the screen at the same time. Now, there is going to be some exclusive content on the Xbox One, including some NFL behind-the-scenes footage and also a live-action Halo series. So if you love the Forward Unto Dawn series, then you're definitely going to be happy to hear this. And they're going to be working with Steven Spielberg or getting help from him, and he's going to be involved. So it's much more likely going to be some really good quality stuff and just very, very top-notch and more likely to be successful overall. And I got to say, I'm very happy. For those of you that watch Forward Unto Dawn, you're going to be especially happy to see this. Now, let's just say if you're getting bored and you're watching that stuff, you want to search up something or look at something else. You can do that using something like Snap Mode. Kind of like when you were watching sports earlier, you could use Snap Mode to pay attention to other game scores. While you're watching a movie or playing a game, you could be paying attention to browsing the web Or you could actually be having a Skype chat and be able to actually have a video chat with each other with the 1080p Kinect cameras. So it's going to be a lot of fun overall to be able to do that stuff without having to close in and out of apps all the time and just keep on going back and forth. Instead, you'll be able to do both at the same time. Now let's talk about the specs of the system. It's going to have 8 gigs of RAM, even though they didn't say exactly what type. It's going to have 8 gigs of RAM, it's going to have 5 billion transistors, it's going to have USB 3.0, it's going to have a 500 gigabyte hard drive, and it's going to have an 8-core CPU that's 64-bit based. And it's going to have Blu-ray, of course, so then you don't have to use multiple discs on your games. Now, many of you probably didn't know this, but to run Xbox Live today, it takes 15,000 servers to be able to run it. But with the new Xbox Live, they went from 15,000 to 300,000. So over 250,000 servers is going to be running it. And that's why everything is going to be super snappy and extremely fast, especially when you're switching between channels very, very quickly with just using your voice. Now, the Xbox One is actually going to have 3 operating systems. It's going to have the Xbox operating system. It's also going to have the core of Windows, which will be great for developers, so that way they can easily make games for the Xbox One, and that way there won't be any crappy imports going from Xbox One to PC or PC to Xbox One. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And the third one is actually something that's going to be right in the middle that's going to help the two work together so then everything is smooth, seamless, and so that way everything will work so well that you won't even be able to tell the difference or just know that there's actually 3 operating systems. Now, I bet you guys are going to be very happy to see the controller. The controller has impulse triggers now, and the battery is integrated, so it doesn't take anywhere near as much space it used to. It's very flat underneath. It doesn't have that big bulky part sticking out, and the D-pad has been fixed and redefined. It is much better. It's the way people wished it was, so that way when you press up, it doesn't go into some other direction or mess up at all. Now let's talk about games. The first one is Forza Motorsport 5, which is going to be coming out at the same time as the console itself. And I gotta say, the graphics look pretty nice, the lighting was great, they paid a lot more attention to detail on the vehicle itself, the surface, the insides, and especially the tires. The tires looked really detailed, and it was looking very, very realistic overall. Now, EA has announced FIFA 14 as well as NBA Live 14, Madden 14, and UFC. And they were trying to show off their new engine that is called the Ignite, which is a lot more graphical, and then they pay 10 times more detail as far as the audiences, everything outside the stadium itself, and you could actually tell the differences between all the people in the crowd. And the thing that stood out the most was the movement. The movement was extremely realistic. It wasn't like too smooth, but it was much more realistic, and it almost looked like you were actually watching a video or something, which is really, really great. And that way you might actually be able to get around things more, and it'll just be overall much more realistic as far as movements go. Now, I was happy to see that they showed a new exclusive, and it is called Quantum Break. Now, I gotta say, they didn't show very much of it, but from the beginning, it was mostly showing a ship, but later they showed a few little glimpses of some of the gameplay and what the game's overall going to look at. And I gotta say, out of all the games, this is the one that really stood out the most to me, and I really want to see more of this game, and it looks very different and quite original, and it is going to have some kind of film or live action in it. Now, the last game is going to be Call of Duty Ghosts, which is going to be done with a whole new engine and deliver you better gameplay and better graphics. And there's going to be a whole new story, new scenery, as well as new characters. And as far as the characters go, one thing that they really put out there is that they're going to really try to get you to be attached to these characters, so that way you feel connected, and that way when something bad or good happens, you'll actually react upon it. And also, they added in and changed some things that are actually really good, such as the dogs. The dogs in the past Call of Duty games have always attacked you or been against you. In this one, they're actually going to be working with you, such as sniffing out explosives, tracking down enemies, and possibly fighting against enemies. And some of the things that they added is that you could just jump right over things such as cover, objects, and also you could lean around corners, so you could take your time and be very careful on things and just overall precautious. Now, as far as multiplayer goes, they added in some things to make it a lot less predictable, and that way you don't feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, such as floods, earthquakes, and being able to actually do something yourself, such as kick down some blocks so they roll down a hill and possibly do some destruction of some sort. So this way you just really don't get bored of the same thing over and over again. And if you don't find that to be enough games, then don't worry. They did say they're going to be announcing more games at E3, which is June 10th, and they did say that there's going to be a total of 15 exclusive games for the Xbox One, 8 in which are going to be completely brand new series. I gotta say, I'm very excited. Really can't wait till then. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit that like button. And if you think any of your friends would find this useful or informal, make sure to share this with them. Thanks again for watching, guys. This is Gamers Reason. I'll see you guys in the next video.